Amidst the turmoil of war, a self-discovering teenage guy is enamored with beautiful young woman, a seductive local of a small, closed-minded Italian village. The movie opens in 1940, right before Italy joins the war, in Sicily. A young boy, Renato, 12 years old, witnesses three significant events in one day. First, Italy goes to war. Second, he receives a new bike. Third, he witnesses his first sighting of Malena, a stunning woman. Together with his friends, they admire the beauty and allure of Malena's body. They shift positions to where Malena will pass so they can once again catch sight of her and fantasize about her. At the beach, while Renato was being teased by his friends for wearing shorts, it led to a fight. Because of this, he went to a tailor to have his father's pants altered. However, the tailor recognized the pants, and Renato explained himself. When his father found out about this, he immediately scolded and hurt him. One day, while he was in front of Malena's house, she called out to him, and he immediately approached her. She then asked him to buy cigarettes. He was amazed by the smoothness of the young woman's legs. However, it turned out to be just his imagination. After Malena's husband, Nino Scordia, was dragged away to battle in Africa, Malena is left alone with her father, an elderly and nearly deaf man. Malena tries to deal with her loneliness. While the community she relocated to tries to deal with this gorgeous woman who attracts the attention of all the local men, including Renato. She is, nevertheless, devoted to her husband, despite the rumors. Renato starts having fantasies and becomes fixated on Malena. The shy young woman becomes the focus of his intricate fantasies, and he can't stop staring at her window as she longs for her beloved husband to return. While Malena danced with the photo of her husband, Renato felt the rhythm of the song deeply. The next day, he bought a record, and played it in his room. Eventually, Malena entered his room, and they had a heated scene, but it was just a dream. He awaited Malena's every move and followed her wherever she went. At night, before he slept, he imagined their togetherness and their affectionate moments. He pleasured himself, and his father was disturbed by the noise from the bed. At some point, Renato steals Malena's underpants, and starts having fantasies about her in bed, and he pleasured himself, much to his parents' dismay. They make every effort to curb his conduct, but to no avail. Soon after learning that her husband has been killed, Malena is overcome with grief. Renato keeps observing Malena while she experiences grief. The villagers avoid Malena, starting to think the worst of her, simply because of her attractiveness. Worse stories are propagated by women, and men feed into the gossip by following the helpless widow, who does nothing to defend herself, and merely wants to be left alone. She pays her father a regular visit and assists him with household tasks. However, when a letter full of lies finds its way into his hands, a devastating blow is dealt to their relationship. He peeked once again through Malena's window, and he clearly saw her together with an army officer, being affectionate with each other. As the army officer was leaving, the dentist arrived. Due to jealousy, the argument between the two escalated. They were intervened by another army officer and the dentist's angry spouse, who was also with Malena. Malena's situation worsens when the local dentist's wife takes her in court, accuses her of having an affair with her husband, only for Malena to be found not guilty. According to testimony given to the court, Malena's beauty is causing other women to feel uneasy and threatened. The lonely and depressed Malena's only romantic partner is an army officer. Gets dismissed after declaring that he was just friends with Malena. Although Malena feels terribly hurt by the officer's betrayal, she remains silent. Following her acquittal, Malena's attorney Centorbi visits her home and requests a dance. While she is dancing, he uses her unpaid legal fee as pressure and sexually assaults her while Renato watches from outside her residence. Renato is beginning to regard himself as her guardian, though he is unaware that his opinions on Malena are not much different from those of the townspeople. Even as he begs God to keep her safe and exacts small acts of revenge on those who defame her, he spends no time in realizing how Malena feels. He even argues that Malena's decision to pay her attorney's fees justified the sexual assault. In the meantime, the town is bombed as the war approaches Sicily. Malena is left all alone, after her father passes away. Desperate for food, Malena's poverty eventually drives her to become a prostitute. After cutting short her long black hair, she starts wearing provocative clothing. When the German army arrive in town, Malena also surrenders herself to the Germans. The townspeople are nearly happier now that she is compelled to play the whore than they were when she was a devout young wife, and they smugly observe this. When Renato sees her with the two German officers, he is thinking about the possible lascivious acts that the Germans might do to Malena. Because of that, he fainted. Thinking that he is possessed, His mother and the older women bring him to the church for an exorcism. Renato's father objected to this. He explained that his son was already becoming a young man and that it was necessary to mark his coming of age with a baptism. When his father brings him to a brothel, Renato has sex with a prostitute while thinking she's Malena. Following the conclusion of the war and the arrival of the Americans, the ladies assemble and publicly humiliate and beat Malena, forcing her to shave her hair and strip her in the square. Despondent, Malena flees to Messina to avoid more persecution. A few days later, Malena's husband, Nino Scordia, returns seeking for her, to everyone's surprise. People who were displaced by the conflict are living in his house, and no one is prepared to tell him what happened to his wife. Through an anonymous letter, Renato informs him of Malena's whereabouts and the truth that all of the accusations about her infidelity were unfounded and that she has always loved him alone. Nino travels to Messina. After searching for her for a year, he proudly strolls down the street with his still stunning wife. Astounded by her bravery, the townspeople, particularly the women, start speaking respectfully to Signora Scordia. Despite her beauty, they don't consider her dangerous because they say she's gained some weight and has wrinkles around her eyes. But Malena, after her experiences, is still shy and afraid of attention. At the beach, Renato assists her in picking up some oranges that have fallen out of her shopping bag. He still feels the thrill of being around a beautiful woman. Following that, he bids her Buona Fortuna, Signora Malena, good luck, Mrs. Malena, and departs on his bicycle, giving her one more glance, as she moves on. As this last scene fades away, the voiceover of an adult Renato says that, despite the years that have passed, he has not forgotten Malena. He states that the English subtitles indicate that time has passed and I have loved many women. And as they've held me close and asked if I will remember them, I believed in my heart that I would. But the only one I've never forgotten, is the one who never asked, Malena. For more videos similar to this, don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications. Thank you for watching.